the John Cooper Works Mini Countryman. Never did I think I would ever be driving one of these, if I'm being honest. I'm not really a big SUV kind of guy. Never really been a big mini kind of guy either. I kind of like the old classic ones, you know, the ones that are actually mini, the ones that are actually small. But then whenever they became German and not British, and they became much bigger than mini, I was never really into it so much. And I know they did the Cooper S and it was cool, and then they did the John Cooper Works Cooper S, which was just that little bit extra cool. I always thought that they were a little bit overpriced for what you got, and you can always get something better, I have found, for your money. But yet here I am in a John Cooper Works. Now, the Countryman is a big car. Let's not beat about the bush. It's a big car. I mean, it would probably just be described as a crossover SUV, but it's pretty big. I mean, certainly compared to what I'm used to driving anyway. And certainly to be called a mini, it's blooming huge. It's really, they should really call it a maxi, but that's a debate for a different day, I suppose. So anyway, here we are. We're driving it, and we're giving it a wee road test because why not? On the outside, it looks unsurprisingly like a mini. It looks much like they've taken the John Cooper Works Mini, the normal one, and just enlarged it. It's got all the same kind of like little accents and sporty little bits here and there. It has a really cool heads-up display, which actually I'm really enjoying. It's got twin exhausts. It's got a bit of a rear wing. It's got a bit of a diffuser. Nothing too out there, but you know, it is pretty cool. You know, whenever you look at it, you know that it is perhaps a special version of the Countryman. It's a special mini. Interior-wise, these seats are absolutely fantastic, I must say. They really hug. They're like proper sports seats, and they're made of kind of half. Well, they've got a bit of leather here, a bit of Alcantara here, and then a bit of space edge material here. Really nice steering wheel. It's girthy in all the right places, it's curved in all the right places. It has these sort of dimples here for your thumbs, which are, the suggestion is that you should never need to remove your hands from this position, even whenever you're like turning really tightly. That's probably a little bit impractical in practice if you're at the shops and you need to navigate a very tight car park. You probably aren't going to just keep it in full-on sports mode, you know what I mean? Sort of sports kind of steering, but you can if you want, and it's cool that those dimples are there. There's nice leather on the steering wheel. You've got this cool Alcantara with red stitching, but then unfortunately up here you've got like just this cheapy plastic, and seeing up on the dash, it's just that really cheap plastic. You do have this huge big display thing and this colored thing. You can change the color of this if you're that way inclined. I mean, look at this, you just press a button and off you go. I don't know if, I mean, it is technically an interior feature. It's kind of a bit pointless. It's kind of quirky, I guess, but you know, whatever. You have these nice cool buttons. They're sort of like, I mean, they look like chrome, but they're plastic. But I mean, it's the thought that counts. Big old start-stop red button in the middle. Looks real nice. It works. It is surrounded again by just cheapy plastics all over the place, which I'm not a big fan of. Leathery gator, fair enough, but then plastics. So I mean, in a car that costs what it does, I would like a little bit nicer trim. I guess all the money's going into these seats. The seats are fantastic, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. They're very supportive, they look really cool, and they have nice, you know, mostly nice materials on them. So I guess for the seats and the wheel, that's where your money's going, I guess. It's not the most expensive car in the world, but I mean, there are cheaper cars that have some nicer materials, that's all I'm gonna say. It's a automatic, as you may be able to see. It has these flappy paddles, which you can use if you wish. You don't have to use the flappy paddles, but you can go, and then you can go down and down. Don't know if you heard that little bit of a pop. That is a wee bit naughty. You can make it do naughty sounds if you wish, which is absolutely awesome. I very much enjoy that. And you know, if I hit them third and I let go, hey there. there it is. Now, of course that is a little bit juvenile, but that suits me right down to the ground. I would certainly, if I had this car like permanently, I would probably drive around just in third gear, just going just to get those pops and bangs just all the time as much as possible, just because I think that's absolutely hilarious. But it's probably not very good on fuel economy, it's probably not very practical, you don't get anywhere fast doing that, but it's a whole lot of fun. It's got 3 different modes. If you flick this little knob down here, you can go green mode all the way down at the bottom, which will probably have the least amount of exhaust theatrics. I believe in green mode it changes gear for you like a bit quicker so that you're not revving as much, so you're not burning as much fuel. You can then flick it up to mid, which I guess will be not quite as eco, but still a little bit. And of course, the place where I leave it the whole time, maximum theatrics, and the longest amount of time between gear shifts, sports mode. Why would you want it in anything else? I don't know. You can have it in fully automatic, you can just do nothing if you wish. Like I was doing before with the paddles, you can just start using the paddles anytime you like, and then just stop anytime you like, and it'll just go back to fully automatic. Or you can push this. This is quite interesting. You push it in over here, which I believe, well, it says M/S. I believe this is what is considered Sport Plus mode. So in this, I can actually go doink to drop a gear, pull it back to go up a gear. So it's kind of like a little bit like a rally car, except that like a rally car is like, you know, just this thing you go brum, brum, brum. So it's kind of like that, only down here. So I can just like go. And it works. If I wanted to be really weird, I could gear up with the paddle and gear down with the stick. So third, fourth, third, fourth. If you want, you can. It's fairly versatile if you want. Obviously, you don't have the control of a clutch, which I am very, very used to having. So me driving this automatic is a little weird, but you know, it works, and it does work quite well. The amount of time between the gear shifts is pretty short. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of lag. Like, it feels pretty smooth. You don't feel any kind of a clutch jerk at all. It's pretty nice. So the power that this thing makes is 231 horsepower, which is fairly decent. It's the exact same as the normal John Cooper Works, because it's the exact same engine as the John Cooper Works. It is, of course, being a big SUV, bigger equals heavier. It weighs 1,600 kilos, so it's a bit of a fatty. So you might think, well, 231, 1,600 kilos, it probably is a bit sluggish to accelerate. But really, it's not. It really doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel sluggish at all to accelerate. So in second gear, a little bit of a straight, just tootling along, floor the throttle, and it goes. I mean, it feels pretty nice. I mean, it does pull you back in the seat a little bit. I mean, it's not like super, it's not like, whoa, it's not, totally crazy, but, it does feel pretty sprightly. Like, I mean, that's, and get up to fourth gear, and as soon as you get to fourth gear, drop it back down to third gear and get those pops. Absolutely, why not? So this big beast of a Mini costs £37,964 to be exact. That's quite a fair chunk of change. I mean, for a Mini, come on, it's not even four-wheel drive all the time. It's one of those systems where it's a two-wheel drive car until the computers feel that they need to intervene and give you some extra drive in the other two wheels. So considering that the normal John Cooper Works starts at like 25 grand, this car is way more expensive. But do you really get way more? I mean, you get a fair bit more space in here, I guess, so it is a bit more practical. But I mean, it's the same engine. It's not any quicker. It's but because it's bigger and boxier and heavier, it's gonna be a bit slower. I mean, it feels okay, but if you were gonna go side by side and do a drag race with a normal John Cooper Works, you would lose. So for me, as a performance car enthusiast, I would find it as a bit of a hard sell. So it kind of begs the question to me, like, who is this car aimed at? I mean, it can't really be aimed at a performance enthusiast, because someone who likes performance and wants a Mini, likes the look and feel of a Mini, they're just going to go and buy the normal John Cooper Works. I kind of worked out that there is a couple of small, like, niches. Is niches the plural of niche? Or is niche the plural of niche? Anyway, I've worked out at least one niche anyway, where this car works. And it's in the situation that I find myself in. So I'm a married man. My wife, whenever I met her, she was into cars like the Range Rover Evoque and all this kind of stuff. You know, it's designed by Victoria Beckham. And dreary. But then me, I'm the performance enthusiast, and I've shown her the ways of the Force. And so now, whenever she's looking at cars, you know, she would look at something like this. So this is kind of like what will be sort of up her street, but it has much more of a performance flavour. That's very specific. It's going to be a pretty small market, so I don't really know who Mini are trying to sell these cars to. It doesn't have any more seats than a normal Mini either. It's like the same amount of seats. So it's not as if you would buy this if you've got a big family or something. I'm sure my wife would like it, but, you know, unless she's gonna go and buy it herself, she's not having one. Being a big heavy beast and being petrol as opposed to diesel, you know, the base models are diesel, and that's for fuel economy, and most people buying SUVs are gonna go and buy the diesel one, which again makes us a bit even more of a hard sell. But the fact that we're petrol, we're kind of highly strung, and we're a bit of a heavy beast, the MPG in this probably isn't that fantastic. The Mini claim you can get up to 29 MPG, which is okay-ish, I guess. It's not fantastic, but realistically, I've got a feeling that you're not going to get anywhere near that, especially if you're sitting in sports mode like I have been pretty much this entire time. You'd have to go into green mode like all the time and just drive like a little granny in order to get 29 MPG, and then you have to ask the question, what's the point in having a John Cooper Works if you're just going to sit in green mode and drive like a granny? It kind of defeats the purpose entirely. So realistically, your MPG is going to suck. I guess I can conclude it's a good car, but it's a tough sell and I wouldn't have one. But while I've got this one, I'm going to have some fun. So yeah, what do you think of the John Cooper Works Mini Countryman? What do you think of the John Cooper Works in general? Do you like that? It's good. It goes. It does its job. Hey, hello, Poppy Pop. So yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you like it? Do you like the normal Mini? Do you like any other crossover SUVs that are quick? Do you think that it's pointless? Do you like a slower one? Do you like a diesel one? What do you like? Throw a comment in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you like it, please do like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more content to come very, very soon. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye. One last little annoying point that I'm feeling right now. The normal John Cooper Works has launch control, but this big, way more expensive John Cooper Works Countryman doesn't, and that is a big disappointment. I want launch control. If I'm spending all that money on a Mini, I want launch control. Run over, sorry.